During the last few weeks and months, we've all been talking about Callum Wilson and wondering about the future. Was he going to get an extended contract? Is he not? But the one person we've never heard from is the player himself. Until now, he's actually come out and done an interview on the High Performance podcast. So we'll talk about that. Jamie Gittens is also expected to leave Borussia Dortmund in the summer. Has that alerted Newcastle United to the winger's availability? Anthony Gordon is once again linked with Liverpool. Reports coming out today that Liverpool are interested in him, with players expected to leave Anfield in the summer. Newcastle United, though, have set a valuation. And, of course, Jonathan David, his future is still unclear. Canada manager Jesse Marsch has had his say on if Newcastle would be the right destination. So let's have a look at it all on the Toon Review. Hi everybody, I'm Paul. Welcome back to the Newcastle United latest news. We will start off with Callum Wilson because I think it's a very interesting quote what he said on the High Performance podcast regarding his future. Now, we've all had our say. We believe that his body's shut down, that really injuries have caught up with him. Can he compete at that elite level anymore? And what he's had to say is, he says, I'm comfortable now financially, thankfully. I'm stable, so that's not an issue. I know I'm still able to provide for my family and put food on the table for them. Now, listen, footballers' wages, we all know that they live in a completely different world to us mere peasants on the thousands of pounds that they get every week. But I think what Callum is saying there is that he's probably willing to take a pay cut wherever he goes because he's now financially stable and he doesn't have to worry about that in the future. So he could go anywhere as long as he's still playing football. He'd still be happy with that. He says, I know my worth and I know my value and I'm still so hungry inside that even though I know Alex is scoring goals, I'm still very frustrated when the team sheet comes out and I'm not starting, so I know I'm not ready to leave football yet. I'd love to leave football before football leaves me. I'd never let an injury stop me from playing. I think I've been fit now for 4.5 months, but I've probably only played around 250 to 300 minutes, and that side of things are frustrating because you don't want the last few years on your career to fizzle away, especially when you've worked so hard to get to that point. He said, it's all new for me at the moment, but I'm just enjoying life, enjoying football, and playing with a smile on my face. What's meant to be will be. Now, that gives me an indication that he hasn't been offered a new contract at Newcastle United. He's talking there as if, really, I mean, this is just what I'm picking up. I don't know about you guys, but I'm picking up that, he's accepted that he's leaving Newcastle United in the summer. And that he will financially secure it. He is willing to take a pay cut, but he still knows what he's worth. Now, interesting comment there saying about football leaving him. I think his body is shut down on him. I think the injuries have caught up with him. I'm not the only Newcastle United fan that feels like that. Callum Wilson's been fantastic for Newcastle United. We shouldn't, and that's not over-egging things and being nice to the player, because he has. He's done a great job when he's been fit. But I think the last few seasons has just proved that he can't stay fit for long enough. I mean, yes, he's saying 4.5 months. I mean, wow, 4.5 months he stayed fit for, and that's a big thing for him. But for us, it's like, well, 4.5 months isn't really that long to stay fit, But I do believe that he can do a job elsewhere. Now, obviously, he's linked with Leeds United heavily in the last few weeks. That might be a very, very good move for him. I do believe that maybe he can still compete in the lower half of the Premier League for a team there. But what I'm trying to say is that the elite level that we are going to be playing at, Callum Wilson doesn't have the pace anymore. He just does not have what's needed. His body has degraded so badly with all the nasty injuries that he's had. It would be very hard for Callum Wilson to compete. And I think Callum knows that in his own mind. But, he's comfortable where he's at now, and that's the main thing. If he's comfortable and comfortable with the fact that he's leaving Newcastle United, he will get offers. He will get offers. But I thought it was a bit crazy when the rumours initially were going around that we were going to offer him a new contract and it was simply just to get a fee for him. I don't think anybody's going to pay a fee for Callum Wilson. You know, you look at his injuries. If I was a football club owner and I looked at Callum Wilson, I'm thinking, nah, not for me. Those injuries, nah, let's just forget this. But, you know, it does give me an indication that Callum's accepted that he is going to be moving on. Now, next, we'll move on to Anthony Gordon, because I think this is a big story break, and that Liverpool may well be interested in Anthony Gordon again. Now, this has come from Liverpool, and they're expected to be seeing Diaz and Núñez leave the club in the summer, which does free up a little bit of space, of course, on that left-hand side where Anthony Gordon loves to play. Now, there's been so much controversy over Anthony Gordon in the last 2 weeks about, you know, has his head been turned again? Is he bothered about Newcastle United? His body language doesn't look right. I think that's all a load of bollocks, right? I really do. I think Anthony Gordon, you know, is an elite player. And if things aren't going right for him on the pitch, he shows it. He shows his emotions. And I don't quite think that, you know, there's anything wrong with that. Yes, sometimes when he goes down and he stays down and whinges on a little bit, that's a bit infuriating. But a lot of players do that nowadays, don't they? A lot of players are involved in that. But you know what? Newcastle United now apparently turned around and said that £80 million is the valuation on Anthony Gordon. So whatever happens, we will make money on the player. And again, you know, we were talking last night on the show about Isak going, and nobody's got £150 million to spend on Isak. But an £80 million offer for Anthony Gordon, I'm not sure Newcastle United turned that down, you know. I'm really not. But again, this is the intriguing thing about this summer transfer window, is who are we getting in? More so importantly, because if we lose players like Gordon, then you would expect that Newcastle United will replace them with just as good a player. Now, one player that is being mentioned, so I can link into this story, is Jamie Gittens at Dortmund, the 20-year-old winger. He can play on both flanks. Now, Dortmund have said that there is a very strong possibility that Gittens could move in the summer. He is, of course, a Manchester City Academy, former Academy player. But Dortmund have admitted they need to reduce their wage bill in the summer, meaning some big names could leave at the end of the season. And Gittens is one of them. Now, Gittens has been a player that has been mentioned by a lot of fans. Certainly in our chat, on our live shows, there's been lots of fans saying, how about Gittens? Why don't we have a look at him? And there's definitely a market for him. He's a very exciting player. We'll be having discussions soon. If offers come in, we'll have to deal with them. Now, that was comments made by an official at Dortmund. So he is available, clearly. And Dortmund have admitted about the wage bill, that needs to be reduced. So you're going to get a lot of this. And a lot of this will be discussed in our transfer show on tomorrow night, because we're going to be looking at teams that may well be in restrictions financially and they need to sell. So we're going to have a look at all the major clubs and see where there might be players that we can go in and snatch, like they did to us with the likes of Anderson and Minte, for example. So that's going to be a great show where we'll actually see how busy Newcastle United might be dropping in and stealing players like Gittens when teams have admitted that they probably need to sell due to financial restrictions. So it's a possibility that, you know, Gordon could well leave the club. I mean, listen, a lot of people thought he had his head turned last season in the summer, and he was very disappointed that Newcastle United possibly touted his name out because of their financial restrictions. The same as what happened to Jamie Gittens now at Dortmund. It's exactly the same situation, but, you know, Newcastle United, we're in a better position this summer where we can go and do things that we couldn't do in the previous windows. But it's important for me that if we do lose players, like an Anthony Gordon, if his head is turned again, you know, I thought that at the start of the season he didn't play very well. And I thought that was because his head was turned, or he was disappointed that Newcastle United were offering him for a transfer. I don't know what went on, but he did get better. He's having a rough time of it again lately. Anthony Gordon, I don't think he's fully fit, to be honest, but you know, £80 million, would you turn that down if somebody came in with 80 million quid for Anthony Gordon? If we were then to go out and replace him with a just as good a quality or even better? Because there's clearly money there to spend. So let me know in the chat what you think, because Jamie Gittens, 20-year-old, fabulous player, by the way. Really good player. Can play on both flanks. Newcastle United definitely alerted to his availability, so that might be an option. Listen, the 1st of June for us is going to be incredible. When that window opens for 10 days, Eddie Howe's already stated that he wants to get players in early, so you could expect Newcastle United to be busy in them 10 days. It closes again, then reopens for the rest of the summer, of course. But boy, oh boy, this is a completely different window than what we have seen, certainly in the last 3 or 4. Now, the final story today from me is regarding Jonathan David. Canada's manager Jesse Marsh, who of course used to manage Leeds United, has come out and said that he believes that Jonathan David and Newcastle United would be a very good fit because the club's ambitions will match the ones of Jonathan David. Now, look, Jonathan David has been touted around Europe as to going to Barcelona, or there's a couple of clubs in Germany interested as well. Manchester United, although I'm completely ruling them out. There's no, unless Man United get in the Champions League, of course, which we'll see tomorrow night if they win the Europa League. However, Jonathan David has been connected with Newcastle United for, 2 years now that we've seen him crop up on reports that Newcastle United are showing a big interest in him. I would love Jonathan David at Newcastle United. I think any Newcastle fan would love him at Newcastle. But like I say, Jesse Marsh believes that the future of Jonathan David depends on whoever comes forward and offers him the best ambition, the best project, etc. And Jesse Marsh says Newcastle United, the way they are at the moment, finally winning a trophy, hopefully in the Champions League again next season, and the players that we already have that would probably stay if we're in the Champions League. It's a perfect place for Jonathan David to go, and the club would match his personal ambitions as well. I think Jonathan David would be a fantastic signing. But again, it's getting him. We know that we are competing with the best teams around Europe now for these players. It's not just the fact that Newcastle United are interested in him. There's a lot of big teams interested in various players that we're also showing an interest in. So excitement is building now up to the 1st of June for me. Get Sunday out the way. Let's get that job done against Everton. Let's get into the Champions League. And then once that season shuts on Sunday, we can then look ahead to what should be a fantastic transfer window for Newcastle United. Many players will be linked. Hopefully out of those many players, 3 or 4 may sign. But one thing is for certain, it is going to be exciting for us as Newcastle United fans. So expect a lot more videos and live shows regarding any news breaking with Newcastle United, certainly over the next few weeks when the window opens briefly, and all across the summer. It's going to be a fantastic, exciting time for us as Newcastle United fans. But as usual, let me know in the comments below what you think of those players. Would you have Gittens? Is it time to say bye to Callum Wilson? The Anthony Gordon thing? Jonathan David? Let me know. A lot of talking points today. But thank you very much for watching. Please do give it a like if you've enjoyed the show. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and come and be a member of this fantastic community. But don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. And of course, check out our website for all the Toon Review merchandise. That's thetoonreview.com. Go and get yourself something nice to support the channel. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you very soon. Take care, guys.